What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I think this is episode three of About the Touts. And I've now since learned that at the top of every episode, I'm going to guess at which episode number it is instead of actually learning it. We got Zach's joining us. We might have Neil here in a little bit. We're fresh off of the most recent episode, some Survivor themed bullshit from our guy Peter Overzet. And Zach, you were on the I was gonna say on the receiving end, on the voting end. I don't know. How are we feeling? How are we feeling right now?
I think I'm feeling okay. I feel totally fine, to be honest with you. Like I said at the end of the thing, like I don't really hold any hard feelings towards anybody for what they did. Like, especially on the other side where it's like I was also scheming to get people out. Like ultimately it was the commish Mitchell who was the one who orchestrated me getting voted out. I voted for Mitchell. So like, well, how upset can I really be at him, you know?
Right. Did you guys have, I was thinking about this as I was watching like the second vote happen in real time. Did you guys like talk about contingency plans? Like if something like this, or was it just like figuring out the initial vote?
We knew for sure that two people were going home at somehow, some way, just because of like how the competition has been structured so far. So we did have a contingency plan. Like but our contingency plan just completely blew up. Like I think we were gonna vote one of the guys who came into the tribe to begin with out after that happened. But we kind of thought it was gonna be like a fan vote. We thought it was gonna be somebody gets voted out, and then the fans are going to vote one more person out.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that was the direction it was going to go to. I was kind of surprised that it was happening. I mean, it was good for as the consumer. It was like fun to watch you guys try to scramble in real time, being like, "Oh my god, we got to do a second vote." And it did feel like everybody in the back of their mind knew a second shoe was going to drop, and they weren't like fully sure what the shoe was going to look like, but that one was coming. And then it did seem like, oh, go ahead.
But when you were watching it, were you like, holy shit, this is very dramatic and awesome? Like,
yeah,
right now
it was, and I like kind of had some hints of as what was coming. I didn't know like who was getting voted off or anything, but I had some hints as to like I knew that there was going to be another thing to come. And it was so I was very excited to like watch everyone's reactions as Pete was explaining what was about to happen next. And it did feel like people were grabbing phones. Like I don't know if texts were going in real time or Discord messages, but it did feel like people were like, okay, we got to panic. Like I imagine it was very sweaty, like very flop sweaty for a lot of you guys.
Well, it was like the whole like that whole day leading up to tribal council was like very sweaty. Like because Tony Squares was flying to Seattle, I think. Okay. So he dropped a message at like 9 a.m. and I'm like in the office at my job, and I'm calling Tony, I'm calling Neil, I'm in the group chat trying to like send deflections to people. So you're just like, we're ruminating on this all day. Like these conversations were going on and on and on. There was one point where like in our team group chat, Kamish like said, hey, should we get our votes in order? And it was just radio silence. And once it was radio silence in the group chat, it's like, oh, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. For sure. It is so funny too. I was thinking about this as I was watching it, where this, if you like really boil this down, this is like a dumb fun thing that's happening, right? 100%. But I do think like people are really working hard at it. People are really investing their time in it. And then all of a sudden, like the stakes feel, I don't know, maybe appropriately high, but higher than they should feel. I don't know. But I like really felt for people. Like you could see that there was stress that was involved. And the idea of like knowing that the tribal council was coming and just like sitting on that so like, what was the timeline of knowing that you were going to tribal council versus that actually happening?
I think we got an email on Monday saying that we're going to tribal council. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I just clicked on my computer there for a second. We got an email on Monday saying that we were going to tribal council. So that's kind of when it all started. And then it was for the next day. We did it on like the Tuesday evening. It's kind of hard to remember the timelines because it was weird also just like sitting there for a week. No, and I know everything that went down, but yeah, it's still, the video hasn't come out yet. So yeah, it was like the turnaround was like a day, but also we knew pretty much instantly once our video went up that it wasn't gonna, like the algorithm was not going to be in our favor as far as like our video coming out. So we kind of felt like we were going to tribal council pretty quickly, I think.
That isn't something that I really thought about, was that like you already knew the outcome. So you kind of like processed it in real time of being like, oh, this sucks. And then I imagine you like not get over it, but you deal with it, you process it, and then you kind of have to do it again.
100%. And I felt bad. Like at the end, I did that little speech or whatever, and I was feeling very emotional at that point, especially because I was 2 back-to-back weeks. So it's like the week before this, I had to stab Brian Hartman in the back and send him home. Yeah. And then the next week, I'm involved in tribal council where I'm like voting people out. And it's like, I'm not to be honest with you, and this is probably a reason why maybe I didn't do as well in the competition. I'm not a competitive person. Yeah. Like I just in life, like I don't like to bring anybody down. I don't like to like, I like Mason kind of said it on the stream. It's when he was like reviewing our things, he's like, oh, it seems like this guy's just like kind of here for the fun of it. And like, I'm just kind of here for the fun of it in life. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the emotional weight of like having to send Brian home. And then I'm conspiring against the commish, who I just had an amazing time with and like loved working with him on the stream. And we're all having all these laughs, you know? It was really like, I was mentally exhausted by the time we were in that tribal council. And when we got voted out, and then I'm bringing up Emo Cowboy. It's like, I don't really have any problems with Emo Cowboy. He's playing a character. He's having fun. It's like, I don't know. The whole thing was like, it was a mind fuck. Like Pete, what he was trying to do worked.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it too, because it was really funny to hear Mason say, like, I've been doing this for how long and have never spoken ill of, or like never brought anybody else down. And like, you should, in reference to commission and his submission, all that stuff. But then you think about it, this entire contest has basically pitted you guys against each other too. It's almost like created this atmosphere where that is what you are supposed to do, or maybe not supposed to do, but you have to end up doing, whether you want to or not. You're eliminating people from the competition. You have to sell yourself in a way that feels authentic, that shows that you're capable, also better than. And I think that is like a really tough needle to thread. So I personally enjoyed you like popping off there a little bit at the end, because I was like, oh shit, I don't know. You started like speaking that way. I was like, oh, I don't even know the other stuff that you do. Like, and so then I was like, oh damn, I would like to know that. So I guess like take me through, when you were going in that direction. Let's take the heat out of it. Like what are some of the things that you've already been doing? Because I know you do some stuff with the Score, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. I work full time for the Score. Like I'm a content creator for the Score, and like have a salary and benefits and all of that kind of stuff like that. So we do an NFL podcast every during the fall, no timeouts, and I also do my own show called Extremely Online each week. It's just like a short Instagram show that we're actually turning into like a YouTube video, like a 5 to 10 minute YouTube video, kind of like I was a stand-up comedian before I started doing sports journalism. So it's all from like a funny perspective. Yeah. And I also I do a lot of work on the social team for the Score as well. So like I'm very online. I'm very like following all the like whatever weird stories that are coming up, like the Knicks run, and like Danhausen was like a big part of that. And I did a story on that. So kind of like all of that little like, it's all funny. It's all jokes, deep dive into internet stories. So I've been doing that for like a few years right now. And that's been going really well. And everything's been going super well for me with that. So yeah, I've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years.
I was wondering too, like because I was trying to put myself in your shoes, and if I'm already doing this, and now I'm going to lose to people who aren't doing this. Was there a part of you that was like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Like, why do I need to prove this to you guys? But I'm like, I should be beating you guys because I am doing the thing you are trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily that, because this is outside of the zone of something that I do. Like, I think like part of what I realized, and it was I think the criticism against me online was like, I'm just not a tout. Like that's just not. I'm just not that. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Even in my content, like I don't make predictive content. I make reactive content. So it's like I like reacting to things that are happening. I don't necessarily believe in predicting what's. Do you know what I mean? Like I like there's a lot of people, it's like, Ashton Genty is gonna be like the best running back. And I'm like, I think he could probably be good. I don't know, but he could also be bad. Like, yeah, I'm just not really that's just not my personality. But I saw this contest come up and I was like, oh, this is really fun. So I want to do it. I think what I had a problem with was like the sort of chatter that was just like people getting eliminated and be like, fucking Zak's in this show. That guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. Or we have people sending messages like, oh, Zak's by far the weakest on your team. And it's like, I'm the only one with tangible proof that I'm not the weakest on the team. Like, through this competition, like, yes, if we're getting into best ball drafts and we're doing all this kind of stuff like that, it's not to my strength. But one thing I do know is that if it came to the end of the competition and it's me and Pete doing a show, I can pretty much guarantee you that would be a great show because I'm already putting on great shows and I'm already like achieving success. And I've already had gatekeepers and standard bearers within this industry who have said, you have the skills that are necessary to succeed in this field.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just saying that you have benefits doing this type of work is more than 98% of the creators out there. It's really hard to get benefits while you're touting.
100%.
Yeah. It's funny. I'd asked Pete, I was like, if there was anything specific that that he'd want me to ask if he was doing this. And he had mentioned kind of something similar to that about like, if you, the touting aspect of it, like how did you feel about that? Because there were some other guys like I think like a Tony and Mitchell who had similar, I know like I think Mayo had similar questions, or maybe it was the second video, but similar questions in the sense of like they feel pretty comfortable on camera, feel pretty comfortable into the microphone, but like when it comes to the actual touting, is that something that like the ball knowledge of it all? And Pete had mentioned you saw like Tony and kind of commish be a little bit more aggressive with like trying to prove the ball knowledge. But were you just kind of like, listen, that is not my bag. So let me not show you that. Let me show you the other stuff that I can do.
Yeah, I think it's like two things. It's like I kind of am separating like touting and ball knowledge because it's something that I get all the time because I talk about funny stuff. It's like, oh, this guy doesn't know anything about ball. I watch every single NFL game that happens. I watch most of them twice. Like I said, do an NFL podcast every week at The Score. I played football all the way through high school. Like I do know football. Yeah. I'm just not necessarily like standing up on I just enjoy it, I think, in a different way than other people enjoy it. So when like the big criticism in the stream was like, oh, Zak had like the second round pick and he didn't, he asked the group what they want to pick. And it's like, I don't know. For me, if I'm watching a stream, like I don't necessarily want to see, I want the group camaraderie. I want the group to be together. We have 5 guys. What I think a lot of people don't realize through that competition is like, it's incredibly hard to do a stream with 5 guys where it's not just one person talking at a time. So my mindset going into that stream from somebody who has done streams with 5 guys was, how do we get a collaborative environment where it seems like we're all working together to build a team rather than just like 5 guys competing against each other? I was there for the product more so than my own personal.
Yeah. I think that was a little I thought nitpicky too. And I think when the contest gets this deep into it, that's what ends up happening. Like you kind of have to nitpick because when you're down to 10 or 12 or whatever, however many contestants that was this last round, it was 10, right? It was like 10 of you guys.
Yeah, I was 10. Yeah.
Yeah. When you get down to that round, like everybody's pretty good. We've already eliminated so many people. Like everybody's going to be pretty good. So you're going to find spots to do that. But I agree with you because I was like, I thought what the thing that you guys did really well, and I think it's a little bit easier when it is a live stream version of it. I thought you guys did a pretty good job sharing focus. And I thought because of the the like game you created, the shtick you've created for that stream, it was like it was natural to kind of shift point to point. So I also like pushed back on that criticism. It was like, yeah, you could have had a hot take, but I also like the idea that this is like how we're doing this thing together. Here I'm like narrowing it down for you a little bit, but like, what are your thoughts? I didn't have a problem with that. Like I agree with you. I thought that was kind of, again, I think they were just looking for stuff. I feel like you've mentioned a couple of times so far about almost like getting this feedback in real time. And I initially thought that maybe your stand-up experience would have kind of like soft or hardened, I guess is the right term, hardened that shell for you. But it sounds like that still was a little funky seeing that happen in real time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like, I'm sure you experienced it as well. Like, it's tough when people are commenting on, especially if you're a dreamer and you're somebody who wants to do certain things and you're trying so hard. And that's the thing, I'm always trying so hard.
Yeah.
So it's like when you have people kind of tearing you down and taking you down with like this live feedback, it's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, I found it refreshing that you've responded in that way, because I do think the natural inclination there was like, oh, dude, like fuck the chat, bro, like fuck the chat, doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, I don't know. Like, it's easy to say that. I think that's pretty tough. And especially I like agree. I almost was like, I think it's harder, not harder, but if you are doing the stand-up side of it, it's just like that's just a part of the job, and it like you kind of leave it with that performance, and the next time you go out, it's another opportunity, whatever. When you're seeing it in chat form, for whatever reason, it feels different. I don't know if it's because I'm seeing them type out the words, which feels harsher than someone heckling in real time. But something about seeing it typed out fucks with my head a little bit.
It's also the nature of the competition, right? Where it's like the whole point is to judge the people, the contestants. So it's like, it's an extremely heightened version of what you typically receive, which is like, I've had a million like dumb comments, or like I had just had people like, I made some video about the Colts last year, and I had like death threats because I called them like frauds after like week 3 in my DMs and stuff like that. And it's like, but this competition is a little bit different. And I think I had some like, I felt like I felt like I didn't quite get the opportunity to put across what I was trying to put across.
Yeah.
Which was difficult. So I think that was also just making me feel emotional as well.
Well, because I felt this way where I felt like I didn't get a good grasp of like who you are as a creator. So it's been fun like following you after and then going and seeing some of your shit. And I was like, oh man, I feel like if we had you in this competition a few more weeks, we would have gotten some more of this stuff. That's why I was so interested in your response as you got eliminated, because I was like, oh fuck, who's this guy? Like, who is this guy? So I guess like thinking about that, is there anything and if you have an example, cool. If you don't worry about it. But like from the beginning, is there anything you would have done like a little differently now, kind of, going through it?
I think maybe even my initial video, like my initial submission video, was like, I'm bad at fantasy football. I think I could have hammered home the point that's like, I know things about football a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part that I kind of missed throughout that whole thing. That the idea for me with the submission video was like, I'm a guy who spends all my time watching, thinking, consuming football, but I cannot win in any of my fantasy leagues.
Yeah.
So that was, but I didn't really, all that came across was like, I suck at fantasy football, but I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah. And then you're right, because like, then it does feel, because I really like the submission, but I can hear what you're saying in the sense that like, you now have to do this uphill battle of proving that you actually know ball, when you're like, that's not really what I was saying. And I know Pete has talked about this, both like, I'm sure he's done it on stream, but we've talked about it privately, like his Monday morning show. I forget what he calls that in season, but it almost does better when his like DraftKings lineup suck more. Like
totally.
People like watching people lose. Like there's we can commiserate together. Look how much money we lost together as a team. And so I don't even think that's a wrong angle to be like, dude, I put more time into this than anybody else and I suck.
Yes. And that's what it was supposed to be. But I didn't execute it properly.
Or not. I don't even know if you didn't execute it. I think because of the competition, like then now in the back of your mind, be like, oh, that dude's funny. We know that dude's funny and that dude's on camera. Like he's comfortable on camera, but like, does he know what he's talking about? And then you now have to like fight uphill against that narrative, even though that might not have been a true narrative.
And then that's where it's like wire, like a bunch of wires get crossed across that. Like we had, like I did my competition with Brian, and it's like we had an idea, and then like the night before the idea changed, and then it's like I have these scripts that were for another idea but are now don't make any sense. Like we were supposed to, like the original idea was like a blind resume of 2 of the ugliest stacks you can think of, and then you sell them to the person, they pick one, you reveal who both of them are. That was our original idea. And then it became like this, you're just selling stacks. And then it's like, everybody's like, why is he selling these like horrible stacks? And it's like, well, that was the point. But I didn't have enough time to like come up with a new idea for it. So it's like, it's kind of like a series of unfortunate events, like lead to this narrative about me that I just didn't necessarily agree with.
And those are so tough too when you're on a time crunch like that, and especially if you're working with somebody else who you haven't worked well with, but you haven't worked with before, and now you're like, hey, we got to have something, man. So we have to pare this idea down so we have something ready to go. Where if you were doing it by yourself, I think you have like an understanding of your vision. You're like, I'll get there. I'll figure that. We'll just like keep grinding away.
We were so far apart on vision that it, like when it came down to the time to record, I was just like, we got to get something. So it's like, I'm going to do with the best with this thing that I don't necessarily believe in. Not that it was bad, because I have nothing bad to say about Brian. I think he's a great guy, but it just wasn't what my idea was. And but it's kind of a fucked up situation, because it's like, of course, Brian wants his idea. This is Brian's competition. And of course, I want my idea. It's my competition. We're competing against each other at the same time.
It is such a fickle thing of like trying to, you don't want to speak ill of the other person because you don't want to seem like that. But you're also still trying to like not one up them, but be like considered the better part of the duo, even though both of the duos need to do the shit in order to do it well. I had said this to Brian too, man. I thought one of the weirdest things I thought about your submission after the fact was that it felt like in real time when watching the video, you were getting good feedback.
I know.
And then the scores came out and I was like, wait, hold on. I thought they just said positive stuff. Was that something that was like surprising for you guys too? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Silva and Levitan seemed to really like our video.
Yeah.
They thought it was great. I think internally, I know that like Pete brought it up to me a few times that he hated my Deshaun Watson joke. I think my Deshaun Watson joke like lost us 2 points, which again, it's like, I can agree with the criticism on the Deshaun Watson joke. Originally, it was selling. You didn't know who I was talking about, right?
Right.
So I said the massage and the stretch thing, but you wouldn't even if there were no pictures on the screen, you wouldn't have known who I was talking about.
Right.
And I would have tried to slip it in as like
it's like a wink,
a non sequitur kind of thing. So the joke got a little bit. It went through some channels that it probably should have. I should have just switched it or whatever. But I think that really tanked that video, because I think it was like Silva gave us an 8, Levitan gave us a 7, and then we got a 5.3 internally. And that's what put me into the.
That's what it was. It was the internal. Okay, I couldn't remember because I just remember watching along and then being like, wow, you guys got pretty good feedback. And then the score came out. And I was like, oh, okay. And I like felt for you guys in that moment. I was that whole challenge was like mind breaking for me, because I was like, oh, no one's actually talking about what they're supposed to be talking about. And so I was like, I felt like you guys made an attempt at it, even though it was a little shticky with like the bit that you were doing. But again, I understood like the lens that you were coming from.
And the tricky thing is like we're in that situation and you're kind of debating with somebody about like what show you're going to do. And it's like, I don't know how to say, like, I've done 100 of these shows. Like, I know exactly what, like, I've failed. Like I've made 50 bad shows and 50 good shows already.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I'm not going to step here and be like, let me lead and figure out this whole thing, when it's just like, I just have a ton of experience doing this. And it was like, I was trying to get that across with the idea for the show. And that was difficult to get across, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that is a good point too, for people that are like doing it for the first time. There is some like a scar tissue that's built up over time, because you're just like, man, you are going to have clunkers. It's going to happen. You're going to do a lot of bad stuff, and the bad stuff ends up like, it's good to get that out of the system. It makes you feel good. And
there's no other way to get it out of the system than to do it. Like, you just have to do it. And then that's it. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, you're absolutely. All right, this is almost perfect time, because I feel like I got through most of our stuff, and our guy Neil is going to join us now too.
Love that.
So I think I did this correctly. Did I add the third thing? Yeah, I did. Bang. Oh wait, hold on. I got to do this. We'll bring Neil up here, and then I think I have to do this. Let's see. Did we do it right?
Bam!
Yes, we did it right. That's sick. Neil, this is your second time on the show. But we didn't. I don't think we wanted you back this soon, man.
I don't know. You know, I feel like it's good to talk to you, but yeah, you know, not necessarily the timing that I was anticipating.
Yeah. Well, so we talked a little bit about Zak's experience going through it. How are you feeling? But let's just, like, from the first vote, how are we feeling, like, from leading up to the first vote? Like, where was your head at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I have a very different perspective on a lot of these things than like other people. I mean, I didn't do much to try to change anything. Like I sent a message in the group chat like early in the morning being like, hey, you know, I'm available. And then didn't really get much back, and sent like a thing or two in there. And like that was mainly it. And, like, I talked to Tony, and then I talked to Zak, and no one else reached out to me. So I felt pretty certain about what was happening. But
Neil and I had
really
a conversation. Neil and I had a conversation before the vote that was like, for sure one of us is going home today.
Oh, really?
We knew at least one of us was going home.
What, like one of the two of you, or you mean
me and Neil?
Oh man, that just a shitty feeling going into it. Was that just based on
honestly, like I think at the same time though, like kind of like the easiest time in my eyes to like get out, where it's like it's not necessarily based on something that like I feel like I messed up or got like super negative feedback, and they were just like, wow, like, you know, this person like really had no clue what was going on or something. It's like, you know, voted out because like I didn't try to become friends with these people over the previous like month, and like honestly I feel fine about that.
I love that. I love that. You're like, listen, I'm not going to waste my time.
This is like, it's like total ego preservation. Like nobody gets to like knock me down. Like I didn't try to do that much to stop this. But it was nice to like know going in pretty certainly.
Okay. So like after the first vote, was there any moment where you were like, was there any window of time where you're like, oh, I'm good to go? Or did you guys, because Zak, we kind of talked about it, but did you feel like that a second vote or a second thing was coming? Neil, sorry, that was to you, Neil. My bad.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I definitely knew that like two people were minimum going home. You know, I wasn't sure exactly like what sort of like twists were going to come in terms of like how that would operate. Was expecting like something to be available like that to happen. But at the same time, yeah, you know, once the first one came in, it was pretty certain, you know, it's just like, all right, like, let's see if I can like change anyone's mind for a second. You know, I do think like based on perception from others, like, I think like for their path forward, like at least in their opinion, like they probably should have done something differently. Like, I think it really varies, like depending on how you are like weighing competitors and like how you think about that for a variety of factors, like depending on like who you think is like closest to you in path. Like, because maybe like if, you know, you're very different than everyone else left, like that sort of opens up like a clearer lane for you to go forward in. But at the same time, like, you know, I think it kind of just like depends on how you're evaluating people around you. And like, I mean, also like how personally people are going to take this. Like, to me, it's not that personal. You know, you're trying to win. Like, I don't really care about that.
Yeah,
that's also we had some conversations about, like, there were conversations early on, like, oh, let's vote out Cups because he's like the strongest in the competition, and I was like, I don't like that idea at all. Like, I like the idea of, like, because it's one thing if it was actually Survivor where you were like going to win by voting people out, then okay, yeah, you want to do that, but it's like, I'm not interested in like ruining Cups' dream because he's really good at this. Like that does not sit well with me.
Yeah, that kind of defeats the purpose if that's what we're doing. If we're trying to pick somebody who's really good at this and we're like, the first thing we need to do is eliminate somebody very good at this.
It's really hard.
I don't know. I think that's like the whole point of like a Survivor thing is it's like that's the whole idea.
It's Survivor, but it's not the point. It's not the point of. It's not what I want to do in my life. It's not what I signed up for necessarily, right?
Well, I don't know. At a certain point, if you're trying to win, you are trying to get them out. So,
I do think
I kind of disagree.
I think for this specific episode, for sure, it makes sense. I think like for the entirety of the contest, I mean, like again, the consumer, I'm like, well, I hope whoever wins is fucking good at this. And not
I mean, I think the thing is like what makes someone good and like who people view as good, like varies so much person to person. Cause like what like I'm looking for in someone is very different than like what other people are looking for, like whether they're looking for like information, whether they're looking for someone who's like great at like comedic bits and or just like they just find like relatable for one reason or another. Like it's very different to evaluate sort of what like plane you're on or like looking for competitors on or like other people because like we're not all on the same plane of like ideas of like what we should be doing and like what other people should be doing in order to win because like we just have different preferences.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do. I think that is fair. One of the things I was thinking about too with people getting eliminated, or not people getting eliminated, but like the longer this goes on, and maybe it is just specific to this contest, but how we're using some of these confessionals, or not even the confessionals really. It's now like the just social recaps we're putting out there. I am finding them very entertaining, but also I'm like slowly liking these people less.
Yeah.
Because it is a little cutthroat. And I was just thinking like, okay, if we have like 4 or 5 more episodes of this, someone is going to win. And if it does feel like Royal Rumble, last man standing type shit, if I don't know who I'm going to still like, but so to Neil's credit, by the getting knocked out because other people voted you out, not because you had a bad challenge or whatever. In my eyes, I might like both of you a little bit more than whoever is left in 6 weeks, because I do think when it gets this competitive, it's a little tricky.
It's a good thing they didn't use more of my confessionals that I recorded then. I put a few more in the bucket, and I guess maybe Mike wouldn't have taken as much of a liking to me if that was
okay. Well, now you have to share. Give us a little. You don't have to go full, but give us a little taste there. Where did you feel the most wrong?
Kind of like nothing. Like it was just like talking about like immediately post challenge, kind of like post like finding out like we're going to tribal. And then like one the day of tribal. And then I recorded one like in the beginning where like I talked to you last week about it, where like it did bother me like when people went on After Dark and were like, oh, well, like obviously like Tony and Neil are getting out. And it's like, look, like I did fucking better than every single one of you in this. Like, you just assume that like me and Tony suck at this because like you haven't tried to talk to us or like do anything. Like, I mean, like I'm fairly capable at like a number of things that are going to like lend itself well to making this video, and like I have no fucking clue what some of you guys were thinking with what you were putting out there.
Yeah, I know, and we were kind of talking about it a little bit before you got here, but it is such a weird thing because people are going to be hypercritical online anyways. That's just like the nature of it all. But because it's also a competition where it's not just like you're normally putting out content, they're trying to differentiate people, and I don't think, and that's why I've tried. Anytime I've been critical of what people have been putting out there in this contest, I've been trying so hard to be like, listen, I think you have to be insanely vulnerable with yourself to do this to begin with. So take all of that with like, it's incredible you're even trying to do this. Everybody's got a different range of like experience doing it. so-and-so. But I do think it's a little bit harder for people in the chat where they're just like, oh, well, dude, I fought ride or die for cups, dude. And now I feel like I'm turning into Rambus. Ride or die for fucking cups, kid. Genty 3. But and then it ends up being like really negative, and then it can be really hard if you're not used to this type of experience of just
it totally can be. Zach, you can talk a bit more. I feel like I've been dominating the mic here.
No, I was on for half an hour before you even were here, so I think people are already tired of hearing that. I think, yeah, I mean, I relate to what Neil's saying. Like, again, I felt at that point everybody was great. Like, there genuinely was not a single person on our team throughout our stream that I wasn't like, wow, I thought they did a great job. Like, I was interested to hear what everybody has to say. At the end of the day, it's like, I do agree. I really agree with what Neil's saying about, like, that was my wife's like instant spin zone as well. It was like, well, you got voted out. Like, you weren't like eliminated because you sucked. And it's like, yeah, I will carry that. That's a good spin zone. I will keep that.
I like that. That's such a good, again, Neil, I was saying before, I think it was actually before we went live. I feel like out of all the contestants, you're the least online. So maybe the most mentally healthy out of everybody that's in it. And I feel like that's also true in that response too, of just being like, yeah, man, if it was takes and touting alone, I'd still be in this contest. But you have this Overzet created this bullshit vote out thing. And now I'm out.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, I do think like it's hard to put yourself out there for like a lot of people, especially like, I mean, it depends on the person, like how hard it is, but like it is impressive for a lot of these people to be, like extending themselves in ways that aren't necessarily natural or something that they do like all the time. And like, no matter what, like I respect that. And like, even if like your type of content or like whatever you're creating isn't for me, like it's obviously for other people, like they like it. Yeah.
I've seen a comment here from the Consigliere, which shout out the Consigliere, because if anyone's doing a show anywhere at any time, my guy's in the chat. He said this was 100% the misconception elimination. Would love to hear how Zach and Mike thought Neil did with the jokes. His bits were great for the straight man role. I totally agree, man. I thought you did such a good job in your I really loved your guys' video just in general. Like, that was my favorite one. I would have assumed if you were like wasn't looking at like thumbnails and titles and SEO and all that bullshit, I would have assumed you guys got the more views. But I do also think like with the live stream it's a little bit easier. So that's not a shot at the other guys. But I thought you seemed like super comfortable sliding some bits in there and like allowing your personality to come through, but while also not needing to like overpower it all.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, I think I actually am like fairly decent at some of these things that even like I will say that I'm bad at. Like a lot of times I feel like I can be like my own worst critic. That's like obviously like a cliche. Side tangent. One of my teachers in high school used to say that and then let us grade our own projects. So I got a lot of A's in that class. Wasn't the worst critic there, but it became far more true as I've gotten older. Just like it's really easy to be like critical of like things that you should have done better. But I mean, I think like in a lot of different contexts, like I'm fairly comfortable. Like it's a lot of like higher stakes when like you feel like all of this pressure in like an unusual environment where you're like not somewhere that like, oh, like the pressure's off, like when it's just us, like kind of recording, like with like 5 other people that like, or like 4 other people that like, I don't really know all that well. And like, none of them are someone that like, I really like look up to, or like in like a way where like I want to impress them too much. Like it's very easy to be like, kind of like natural with them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think like I joke about myself being like very unfun and like super boring because like in a number of ways I am, but I'm also like very sarcastic, and I think I can kind of like flow with more jokes than people anticipate. A number of people that I know think that I'm the most serious person they've ever met, and a lot of other people think I'm the least serious person that they've ever met. So like it very much depends.
I think Neil's the total package. I think I don't know if this has come out, but we did 2 versions of the draft. We did a first version and a second version. Okay. And unfortunately the second version was just a better version.
It was definitely better. Like unquestionably that one was better.
It was better, but Neil did a lot better and had a lot more time in the first version, I thought. and had some really funny stuff to say. And that he really shone in that one, but it was just, there was nothing we could do. We had to use the second version.
Yeah, like I said that afterwards. I do think like we had to use the second. I think I liked myself in the first one more, but like obviously like if we're trying to win and other stuff, like it just didn't make sense to try and use the other version because like there were just like very clear gaps in like the timing of it and stuff. So I think that one was definitely like the right move. So we were on the same page as far as that went. But yeah, you know, I think like it was fun to do. Like I had a good time doing it, and I was happy with what we put out overall.
In between version 1 and version 2, did you guys have any like notes for each other or as a group, or was there anything like in particular you're like, oh, let's try to do this or focus on this, or was it just kind of like just a cleaner?
The only thing that basically the main reason was that our intro. So we did we were trying to get in the middle of the draft because we were doing the auction. We couldn't be at the turn because it would be too hard for everybody to bid at the turn. So we had to so we were re-rolling each draft to get us to the middle. And our idea in the first one was like, we'll do the intro and just re-roll. And then once we get to the point where we're in the middle, like bring it up. And the intro just took 10 minutes because we couldn't get we didn't get a good roll of the dice on that.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Then we were just kind of like filibustering for 10 minutes and we would have been destroyed if that version came out because it was just way too long. I think maybe even the meat of like the first draft might have been better because it's like that's a weird thing about recording where people are like, oh, how come Zach didn't like stand on the table when he had the second round pick? It's like, well, I just did 5 stand on the tables with these exact same guys 5 minutes ago where I had all these like big points. And then it was also like, we repeated a lot of picks and then kind of went through the same speeches in the second one where it's like, we already kind of know what everybody's going to say at certain points. So there was a little dynamic element that was missing in the second one, but
I do think it helped the people who like came in with like clear guys where they're like, I'm going to bid and like just get this person. And like, that's kind of going to be like, I'll already know like a stat or two or something I can say about them. Cause like all the guys that I was bidding on randomly, it was just like, all right, like who the fuck is this? Like this team sucks. Like I need to take someone that like,
except for Pat Bryant, he went
like a 10 pick reach on ADP.
Yeah.
Neil went hard on Pat Bryant 2 drafts in a row.
Yeah, Pat. I mean, I still don't understand his. I mean, I get that him not being a super high pick, and like obviously like no one cares about this on this stream, but like he goes behind Troy Franklin, which like was objectively wrong in like the playoff best ball last year. They all like drafters almost got bailed out by him getting like one of the worst concussions I've ever seen in my life. Wow. And you know, obviously like he still was a better pick than Troy Franklin then. Like I don't know why Troy Franklin would magically be better now.
Listen, I know you said this isn't the stream for it, but he's like my highest owned guy right now.
I have a lot.
Wow. So keep the Pat Bryant talk coming, baby. Granted, that's through like 15, so it's not like it's
hey,
not
buddy,
talking that much.
Honestly, I think that's more than some of the people we were drafting with. So
I wanted
Underdog is illegal in the state that I can't even use Underdog.
Oh, really? Yeah. I thought so. Is it like province to province in Canada?
Like, because gambling is legal in Ontario.
The draft
daily fantasy is not. So I used to do daily. I used to play daily fantasy back in the day before we had legal betting in Ontario, but now we can't do it for whatever reason.
Oh, it's brutal. That's brutal. So you have to drive across the border.
Yeah. I got to go to Buffalo.
All right. I wanted to get a couple of other things in here in the next 15 minutes. One of them, and I got some questions in the chat too. I'll hit those as well. And also we got PPR Tyler in the chat. Good to see PPR Tyler. Nez is here. See Marilyn. Great.
I love PPR Tyler.
Yeah, he's fun. I do like PPR.
He's
Tyler.
fun.
I'm enjoying everybody. Neil, I wanted to give you the opportunity. This is bait though, so I'll just I'll tell you ahead of it. Zach popped after getting eliminated and just like fired out some fire, like sort of directed at Emo, but also just kind of like, hey, I'm doing this. I was curious if you had that opportunity. Is there? Would you have directed it in any sort of particular spot, whether it's a contestant, at Overzet, at a judge? Is there any, or are you just too mentally well that you're like, no, man, this is gonna roll?
No,
right
I have issues. I'm great at compartmentalizing and just keeping it deep down.
Bury it.
Yeah, exactly. Like if there's anything my childhood told me, it's just like keep it back. Nah, but I mean, like, I could have if I wanted to, but like I don't feel like I had as many people like coming at me in that moment. I feel like I talked on here and like I made that video about kind of being a little like annoyed by some of the opinions that people had just like given for like me and Tony when like they didn't know anything about us at that point. So like I wasn't going to go into anything there, and a lot of it is just like, I mean, I don't know, like this is okay with me. I was by far like the most like apprehensive person like taking part in this whole thing, where like I was uncertain about taking part in a lot of this, and like I'm happy that I did it, but I think all these other people want it a lot. People like them. I don't really have like particular beef with them, like they're not necessarily like all my cup of tea, and like that's fine. And also I think like I wouldn't want to say stuff like, too emotionally in that moment. Like, I think like I could give feedback or something and like sort of reasons why things happened or whatever. But like in the end, I think also like people might take that like personally. And like, I don't want to, come off in that moment as like saying like, this is why we lost, or like, this is like someone else, like I should have gotten like second in that draft because like we didn't use the first one, like, and like that's like bullshit or something. Like, I mean, no one cares. And yeah, like I'm not gonna, I don't know, like if I want to go off on people, I was holding it for here. I really just wanted the people to tune in to about the touts.
There we go.
I will say I am happy to like never call myself a tout again. I really don't like that term. I think it's like I have a very negative connotation to it.
You know what's funny? I was talking about it on my show, the NBA Bit. I had mentioned that we were doing this, and I would say like half of the chat was like, "What the fuck's a tout?" Like they had never heard that word before, and I was like, "Oh man, maybe that niche really is so small, and that I think this is a very common word." And everyone's like, "What are you talking about?"
I don't know. I feel like for gambling, it's like such a big thing too. Where like, especially it's much more in gambling. I view like the word as like, if someone's a tout, I think like
they're swindling you.
I probably have like pretty negative thoughts about that person. And I probably don't think they're very good at gambling if they think that they're a tout.
I know. I almost think that this is like the contest is so you think you can tout with like a wink at the end. This is
100%. I mean, that's what I'm telling myself. Now that I'm out, I don't have to. So it's just it's back to regular tout! ! Point.
I love that. You can't kick me off the show. I quit. I didn't want this anyways. So I saw this comment from Marilyn. I feel like this is a nice little button on today. What are the plans for you both now? Let's start with Zach. Zach, like I know you're already doing some stuff too, but did this open up any sort of other potential avenues you're thinking about, or like what's your plan moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm still interested in I think Pete said at the end, like, hopefully you stay in this little corner of the internet. And I definitely am still interested in doing that. I still think that I have a lot to offer to people as far as like, if you want to have fun, if you want to make something enjoyable, if you want to have a good time, I think I could be a go-to person for that. So getting involved in anything that anybody wants to do that's really fun in this space, I think is something that I would absolutely love to do. And in this industry that like all these connections, like they eventually come back somewhere down the line anyway. So I was just really excited to meet all these different people and all these different things. And there could be stuff that I'm doing where I could want to pull people in from this universe into doing that. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm on Zach's good side. So
yeah. So, and then, like I said, like I have, I'm on every Instagram and TikTok at Zachy Sports, and I have Extremely Onlines that come out every week. I'm always making little like funny videos about the inside world of the NFL. I'll do a podcast in September for The Score about the NFL. And I've also, you know what, recently, like 2 weeks ago, I started a CFL account, Zachy CFL, on Instagram and TikTok. And I got like 1,000 followers in like the last 2 weeks. So if you're interested in Canadian football, I got you covered as well.
I'm sure Davis has a stream ready about drafting CFL. Yeah, dude, the more niche, the better, it feels like. So I'm sure that will pop. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll make sure when this is over, all of your like handles and stuff will be tagged to send people that way. But yeah, I found the Instagram and like immediately, I think like your most recent video had a reel had a ton of views on it.
Yep.
What about you, Neil? I know we talked a little bit about it last week about some of the stuff that you'd be interested in. Any like short term, long term? What are we thinking about?
Not really sure. I have like some things that I like coded a while ago that I might just like put on a website with I might use the powers of AI to help me make a website so I don't have to do that. But beyond that, probably not that much for now. Probably just like if anyone ever reached out to me, I'll do stuff with them for now. But probably not going to go like do a ton of crazy stuff and try to like be everywhere all at once. But we'll see. If something opens up that I think is like a good fit, then I might kind of see about that. But I think there's a couple things I could do, but we'll see sort of how it plays out.
Yeah, nothing. Go ahead.
2 quick observations about this competition. Number one, I learned the prevalence of AI in the content creation community is a lot more than I thought that it was. There was a ton of AI graphics and all of this kind of stuff like that, which I found to be very interesting. Number 2, my favorite thing about this competition is just purely the names. Like I was not a part of this corner of the internet at all before coming into this. And then I'm just like describing to my wife what's going on. I'm like, oh man, it's PPR Tyler and Goofy Chicken and Tony Squares. And then I got BBC Chosen and Angry Dragon on my ass. And like just the names alone is by far my favorite part of this.
Yeah, that was, I hosted a live show in Vegas during like Summer League a couple years ago. And this was back when like NBA Top Shot was still alive. And I was saying, we were meeting people, and this was like a bit that I was doing, but we were meeting people from like the Discord for the first time. And it's like, oh yeah, there's Donkey Dick 38. It's like everybody's got these just insane names. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. AI I've been seeing it too. And I feel like people are using it a little bit more intelligently than they were initially, where it's not just like, here's this thumbnail that everybody can clearly see is AI generated. But like, I know Pete's used it a ton for like creating the So You Think You Can Tell website and stuff like that. And it is kind of interesting to see how much it's being used, but also how it's being used.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a whole like different podcast and conversation. But yeah, I agree. There's definitely a lot of people that use it seemingly in every which way. But yeah, there's a lot to say about it. I do think there are certain ways where it can be extremely useful, and then other ways where it can really detract from what you're trying to get across.
Yeah, I have found, because I've been like trying to pick my spots as to when I use it as just being like a one-person business. So there's like times where it makes sense. But I also have found that if you're just like, you know what? I'm going to use some AI and don't have like an actual direction or directive of what you're trying to do, and then you're just making like slop stuff. But I think when you have like a focus and a vision, it can be useful. I guess the other thing I wanted to say before we wrap too, like, do you guys have rooting interests here the rest of the way out? And you can be honest too, if there's a part of you that's like, I'm probably not going to watch the next 3 episodes, like text me when it's over. Like, do you guys have any sort of feeling here what are they down to 8 now?
Yeah, down to 8 at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Zach, do you have anyone that you're like, definitely this guy? If it's this guy, I'm going to, lose my mind.
I have nobody like that. Like I've said the whole time, like I'm genuinely rooting for everybody. And I hope that like, even the people that don't win, I hope they all become super successful as well. I am probably not going to be super locked in to watching the competitions. Even this This recent one, it's like I stayed away from a lot of the comments. I stayed away from a lot of the. I just not want to. I didn't have the emotional capacity to get too deep into all of that. Personally, I think my two favorites are Tony Squares and Cups. I think just as far that's just objective who I personally would like to watch. I think both those guys are really great, especially Cups. To me, it's Cups competition. This is the Cups challenge. Like he if I had to pick right now, he would be the person that's most deserving of the win. He is exactly what this competition is looking for. He does have a great personality. I think he really, really, really knows his stuff. He's somebody that I've been consistently impressed by, even though he literally backstabbed me to get me out of this competition. I would say Cups is the guy that I'm rooting for.
There we go.
Terrible answer. You have to root against him now. Worst enemy, public enemy number one. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I enjoyed working with Tony, and like I thought also like some of the criticism that he got like after our video that we made together was like a little unfair, because like the premise was like made based on like him not necessarily doing all of like the work beforehand on like the football stuff. So I was happy that he was able to like show that off a bit more this week with some of the stuff that he brought to the table. But yeah, I think like it'll be interesting to sort of see wherever it goes, because I think like the whole like competition, like it's been unclear to me exactly like what we're selecting for and like what that is, just because like there's a lot of different like push pulls of like where this is trying to like drag people and challenge them. So it'll be interesting to sort of see how people fare in different environments. And I think there's several people that like I'd be interested to see what happens if they win. But I don't necessarily have like a huge rooting interest. I will probably watch, because it has gotten me more interested than I expected when this was announced. So I'll probably check it out.
I think you pointing out like I'm not really sure what they're looking for like in the winner reminded me, and I might have mentioned this a few weeks ago, but Kevin Hart did this like comedy competition on Netflix, and which honestly was really good.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be terrible, and I was like, man, I really like this. But it reminded me of there's like one episode where they do a roast challenge, which like I would say 98% of working stand-up comics will never do that. and people were like getting eliminated from the competition for that. And it's like, oh man, this probably never comes into play, but that's what happens when you do these like types of competitions. Like that's just a part of it.
Yeah, like I think like some of these things have definitely like pushed towards like selecting, certain types of people like a little bit earlier. But we'll see how it goes later. Cause I do think like at least one of these things I'm quite convinced is going to have a writing component. And like, I'm just interested in what they're supposed to write about, like what they're able to bring to the table, how well they're able to write, because like I find that to be very difficult and like time consuming when I've written articles in the past. Like it's something that's taken me a lot of time to do research, as well as like review what I wrote and like try to edit and like, all right, like, do I think that this section like works, or do I just have to cut it? Cause like, I'm not sure that like that plays as well as I originally thought that it did.
Yeah. And like, how do you even like, what's the grading scale for something like that too? Like that, even how that is judged, I think is going to be, it feels pretty subjective. So, I mean, all of it is subjective.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing is like, whenever anyone gets out, people are like, I can't believe that like Rambis is out. Like he was such an electric personality. And it's like, yeah, like that's fair for you to think that. And like, that's a reasonable take to have. But at the same time, like, everyone else has like different, interests as well, like the other viewers or like people judging.
I'm still hoping Rambis wins somehow. That's still my favorite. Rambis was by far my favorite.
Yeah, bring him back.
I just there's nothing I don't like about Rambis. I like watching his TikToks where he talks about fantasy football and killing bugs. It's probably the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
He was fun. I think my favorite part was probably like the first episode of this show where Chad and I can't remember the other guy's name came on and just decided to like argue that they were unfairly judged. Like it was the email fault, but also they were good. Like other people, like let's not name other people, but like they should have been out, not us. It was just that was the most fun
that was like the first one we did on this channel, I think, right? Where they and it was like the two nice guys at the competitions. It was socks, right? Was it Fold My Socks?
I don't know.
Yeah, they came in and they were just so mad.
I mean, it was very passionate, and
I loved it.
I think you can appreciate that, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was hilarious.
I loved it because I was so surprised by it too. And yeah, Rambus, I mean, listen, he was the first official, I think, like standalone exit interview. And it was just an hour of exactly what you think it is with Rambus, and it was the best. It was the best. Well, fellas, listen, I appreciate you guys being down to share the experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed the opportunity of being on the show. I've really enjoyed both of you guys, so I hope you continue to make. I mean, I know Zach, you were already doing it, but continue to make some stuff. And again, it seems like you guys have already wrapped your head around it. You're like, yeah, I didn't do a fucking bad job. I just got voted out. I lost the Survivor game. I didn't lose the
easiest way to get out. I'm telling you right now, easiest way to get out.
100%. Brilliant. Again, I'll tag you guys in the show notes and all that stuff. But anything you guys want to plug on the way out? Anything to shout out there?
Just keep watching the competition. Keep being locked into all these guys. Like they are like. As someone speaking who's been a part of it, there might be things like you were saying before where you're kind of like, oh, do I like this guy? It's a really tough competition. I promise you all these guys are likable. They're all good guys. They're all just trying their hardest to accomplish their dreams. So it's really important to just continue supporting and showing them love and give them the benefit of the doubt as much as you possibly can.
Love that.
Also be open to changing your mind. You know, I think a number of people like probably will have on people to this point where it's like, you might think about a certain contestant one way, but at the same time, like, you know, we only have seen like a really small sliver into like who people are. Like it's very difficult to make judgments off of like this amount of data. So, you know, be open to, you know, seeing multitudes in someone.
That's how I feel every time somebody gets eliminated. I'm like, oh wait, hold on. We were just about to get some stuff. Like, yeah. So I both good pieces of advice, and I love that I asked if you guys had anything to plug, and instead you were like, you just gave.
Well, I just went off of Zach.
That was good. That was good. That was good.
You can follow me on Twitter at FeelNarly. I will tweet once a month. It'll be awesome. You can be one of the 5 likes on it.
Hell yeah.
No, I mean, we'll see. Like, I actually, like, I will do a couple things just in terms of like website stuff. Like, I'm interested in putting a couple of like the workbooks that I have that I previously used out there. So I'll probably like push something like that if you're interested in some like best ball stuff. And yeah, annoy people to say that I should be on their stream permanently or something so that I find something more interactive to push me to do this more. Thank you.
That's what we're looking for. All right, fellas, we're going to call it there. Hell of a run on So You Think You Can Tout. Thanks for coming on about the touts. For everybody else, we're going to be back tomorrow, actually, with a non-exit interview, though. It's not an exit interview. We got our guy Max Adams is going to come on and talk a little bit from the outsider perspective and kind of give some takes moving forward. So we're going to do that tomorrow afternoon, same time. And then the next time we get an elimination, we'll bring you on here. So if you're still in the competition and you're watching, just hope you don't get a DM from me, I guess, right? That's kind of like the kiss of death. But thank you, Zach and Neil, for hanging out. Go follow them. Go click all the links in the show notes, and we'll see you guys